Friends, I am G.N. Saila, Senior Advocate. Today I shall deal with injunction. Injunction is defined as judicial process in which one who is invading or try to invade the right, equitable or legal of another person is abstained from invading such right or continuing to invade such right, or court may direct the person to undo the same which has already been done. Injunctions can be prohibitory or mandatory also. It may be permanent injunction or temporary injunction. The law relating to injunction finds place in section 36 to 42 of the Speedy Relief Act, which deals with normally permanent injunction or perpetual injunction, which is to be granted after trial of the suit. However, section 37 subsection 1 deals with temporary injunction, which speaks that court can grant temporary injunction and the same is governed by Code of Civil Procedure. Section 39 of the Speedy Relief Act deals with mandatory injunction. Section 40 speaks that compensation in lieu of injunction or in addition to injunction can also be granted. Section 41 gives various instances under which no injunction can be granted. Section 94C as well as Order 39 Rule 1 to 5 deals with grant of temporary injunctions and consequence of disobedience or breach of such injunction, and relates to grant of temporary injunction only. Temporary injunction can also be granted by the court under section 151 of the Code of Civil Procedure by invoking its inherent power where the matter is not covered by Order 39 Rule 1 and 2. Court can also grant injunction under section 9 of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act, and arbitral tribunal can also grant injunction under section 17 of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act during pendency of the arbitral proceeding. There are differences between prohibitory and mandatory injunction. By prohibitory injunction, the court prevents the defendant from continuing or repeating the conduct of which the plaintiff complains, and it does not attempt to deal with the thing which has already happened in the past, which can be dealt with in the suit. But by mandatory injunction, the court can direct the party to undo what has already been done so far as it is possible. Prohibitory injunction merely requires the party from absenting or from acting, whereas mandatory injunction requires to take positive steps and may require restoration of possession if already evicted. Mandatory injunction can also be granted in a temporary nature if a very strong case is made out by the plaintiff, because a part of the relief of the suit is granted if temporary mandatory injunction is granted. Suppose a person is evicted from the house which belongs to him and he approaches a court. Court may be satisfied that the house belongs to him and he was residing there, and as such he may direct the defendant to restore possession of the house to him by grant of temporary mandatory injunction. Section 94C provides that in order to prevent the ends of justice from being defeated, the court may grant temporary injunction and in case of disobedience commit the person guilty thereof to civil prison and may order the property to be attached, and thereafter the same may be sold also. Section 95 says that if any injunction is obtained by the plaintiff on insufficient ground and it is proved to be same, court may grant compensation in favor of the other party. Under Order 39 Rule 1 and 2, where the plaintiff in a suit proves by affidavit or otherwise that any property in dispute in the suit is being in danger of being wasted, damaged, or alienated, or a person is trying to wrongfully execute a decree which is obtained by fraud, or the person is threatening to dispose of the property to defraud the creditors, or the person tries to dispossess the plaintiff illegally, or to change the nature and character of the suit land, the court may restrain the defendant from doing such act. By grant of temporary injunction not to waste, damage, or alienate any property, and the decree may also be, party may be restrained from executing the decree, and or not to dispossess the plaintiff from the property. Under Order 39, Rule 2, a party may apply to the court for injunction to restrain the defendant from committing breach of contract or injury complained of, or any breach of contract or other injury of any kind arising out of the same contract or relating to the same property or right, and court may grant injunction for any duration as the court thinks fit, or otherwise it may grant injunction till disposal of the suit also. Under Order 39, Rule 3 of the Code of Civil Procedure, court has the power to grant temporary or interlocutory injunction even before issuance of the notice to the other party, if court finds that the purpose for which the petition is filed for grant of injunction will be defeated by delay. And in such case, court must record the reason for passing such ex parte order and direct the plaintiff to take positive steps for service of the notice on the defendant immediately, and to file an affidavit on the same day or the next day to the extent that the notices to the other party has been served or the same is being sent. Order 39, Rule 3A provides that if an ex parte order has been passed without issuing notice to the other side, then court shall dispose of the injunction matter within a period of 30 days, and if it cannot dispose of the same, it shall record the reasons for such action. Under Order 39, Rule 4, that other party can apply to the court for vacation, modification, or variation of the order of temporary injunction granted by the court, and court, if satisfied, may modify or vacate such temporary injunction order. However, if an injunction order is passed after hearing both the parties, normally court will not vacate such injunction order unless there is some changes in respect of the property subsequently. So far the aforesaid provisions, it appears that temporary injunction which is to be granted by the court lasts till disposal of the suit, but if any ex parte order of injunction is passed, the same will last till the injunction matter is finally heard and disposed of. And such temporary injunction which is passed ex parte is called additive injunction or interlocutory injunction. Temporary injunction is granted during pendency of the proceedings. So, while final relief of court is not faced with a situation that the relief become infructuous or during pendency of the proceeding an unfair advantage has been taken by the other party in default against whom temporary injunction is sought, as the power of the court to grant temporary injunction is conferred in aid or auxiliary to the final relief that may be granted. If the final relief cannot be granted in terms as paid for, the temporary relief also cannot be granted. Section 41 of the Speedy Relief Act deals with various provisions where perpetual injunction cannot be granted. So, in such matters, court cannot grant temporary injunction also. Court can grant temporary injunction in some suits where there is a prayer for declaration simpliciter if court is satisfied that grounds exist for grant of injunction. Supreme Court has dealt with injunction in various cases. One of the important cases of Dalpat Kumar versus Prahlad Singh, which is reported in 1992, 1 SCC 719, and in the said matter, court says that primarily concerned the court with the preservation of the property in dispute till the legal rights are adjudicated. Injunction is a judicial process by which a party is required to do or refrain from doing a particular act. It is in the nature of preventive relief to a litigant to prevent future possible injury. In other words, the court on exercise of the power of granting an interim injunction is to preserve the subject matter of the suit in the status quo for the time being. It is settled law that grant of injunction is a discretionary relief. Exercise thereof is subject to court satisfying that there are serious disputed questions to be tried in the suit, that an act on the facts before the court there is probability of being entitled to relief asked for by the plaintiff or the defendant, or the court's interference is necessary to protect the party from the species of injury. In other words, irreparable injury or damage would ensue before the legal right would be established at the trial, and that the comparative hardship or mischief or inconvenience which is likely to occur from withholding the injunction will be greater than what would likely to arising from granting it. Therefore, the burden is on the plaintiff by evidence, by affidavit or otherwise, that there is a prima facie case in his favor which needs to be adjudicated in the trial. The existence of prima facie right and infraction of the enjoyment of the property is a condition for grant of temporary injunction. However, prima facie case is not to be confused with prima facie title, which has to be established during the trial of the suit, and court is to prima facie satisfy only that there is some substantial question of law which needs investigation and a decision on merit is required. Satisfaction that the prima facie case itself is not sufficient to grant injunction. The court further has to satisfy that non-interference by the court would result in irreparable injury to the other party seeking relief, and that there is no remedy available to the party except one grant of temporary injunction, and he needs protection from the consequences of apprehended injury or dispossession. irreparable injury, however, does not mean that there must be no physical possibility of repairing the injury, but means only that injury must be a material one. Namely, one cannot be adequately compensated by way of damages. The third condition for grant of temporary injunction is the balance of convenience, which must be in favor of the party who seeks injunction. The court, while granting injunction or refusing injunction, should exercise sound judicial discretion to find the amount of substantial mischief or injury which is likely to be caused to the parties if injunction is refused, and compare it with the which is likely to be caused to other side if injunction is granted. If on weighing the competitive possibilities or probabilities of likelihood of injury, and if the court considers that pending the suit subject matter should be maintained status quo, and injunction would be issued. Thus, the court has its sound judicial discretion in granting or refusing the relief of ad interim injunction pending of the suit. Injunctions can be granted in suits of relating to the intellectual property rights also, just like trademark, copyright or passing of action, where court if satisfied that some illegal action is being taken by the defendant by way of passing of action, by selling the goods with similar trademark, court can grant injunction. So far bank guarantee is concerned, there is a Supreme Court has enunciated that in normal circumstances a bank guarantee is issued which is unconditional, cannot be injuncted. A party in whose favor a bank guarantee is issued by the bank at the instance of the other party if approaches the court for restraining the other party from invoking the bank guarantee, court must be satisfied that there is a irretrievable injury which will be there to the party, or there is a fraud in respect of the bank guarantee. Fraud must be of egregious nature. So, until unless the two grounds, fraud in respect of issuance of bank guarantee or the party who is approaching the court will suffer irretrievable injuries, court cannot grant injunction. So, so far bank guarantee is concerned, there is a specific case in this nature which are different from the other forms of injunctions granted in normal suits. This is shortly regarding injunction and temporary injunction. Thank you.